My name is Ian Greenberg, and 9 months ago, I came to the realization that AI interfaces are boring. I don't think AI has to be that. Because of that, I built GPU-Cats. GPU-Cats is a swappable terminal multiplexer at its base. If you can see here, we have these islands. Islands represent folders. There can be toppable folders, you can have folders beneath them. I can add a child room for marketing. Then in the marketing room, I can pick a specific agent. I'm going to pick Cosmo Posworth. Then once I create that, it'll essentially create a nested folder with an agent here. It's going to be GPT 5.6 because I have that set as my default. And now this agent is essentially a subfolder of the GPU-Cats room. It can basically share persistent memory and have folder-specific memory on top of that. Okay, and you might be saying, okay, cool, you have some cats and islands. Why do I care? Why does it matter? Let me explain. So the benefit of this is that essentially because it's a swappable terminal multiplexer at its base, you can use any CLI and any model, meaning that you could use Codex, which is talking to a Claude agent, which is talking to a Hermes agent, which is talking to an OMIPy agent. And because it's a swappable terminal multiplexer, you don't have to do any of the weird stuff with Claude Code. It just works out of the box because it works the same way it would work in your terminal. Change the background. You can pop out the entire island, and then this can just like float on your desktop. Right click on the cat, pop out the cat. And so now I can basically like have multiple cats just floating on my desktop. You can then click them, open a simplified companion panel, pop them back into the app. The idea is just to make the interface as exciting, gamified, and flexible to the user as possible. Just like if we zoom out on this island, we can add additional agents. So we can just deploy this guy, and he'll basically now just be in the homeroom as a temporary agent. You can make him permanent if you want. He's running on actually my DeepSeek local that's running on 2 Sparks in Hermes. So click on the companion panel, and you can change whatever you want. You can make it dark, you can make it light, you can change the font, you can change the font size, change the line height, really anything that you want, panel opacity. It was just like, how can I make a more exciting, more fun interface that's better? And so you can also like, you know, you can open multiple cats in one room, you can choose how big their panels are, you can go full screen, you can minimize this chat interface. Additionally also, you can turn on continuous voice or push to talk on the desktop natively. So I can turn this on and say, what's up, what's up?
Just wrapped up the 2 big adversaries.
You can build on the islands, so I can actually expand these islands and change them however I want. As you can see here, props, and all of this, if there's interest, I'll probably expand upon. I can also seamlessly scroll in and out, so I could just scroll into this guy's island, build some stuff, talk to him, do some stuff, scroll over to this guy's island, see what he's doing, etc. I also turned it into a mobile app, so you can now access it on the go. And the cool thing is that not only can you access it on the go, you can swap between any cat on any island. So you could work through 10 different agents across CLIs and providers on the go. But it has full native duplex voice in the mobile app. So I can tap this and I can say, hey, what's up?
Yep, exactly. You can just talk over me whenever and I'll stop and listen. Feels like a real conversation.
And the way the mobile app works is it basically piggybacks off the running process on your computer or server. So I can say something cool like, hey, give me a call on the phone and talk to me about what we've been working on tonight. Okay, it's calling me on the phone now. I can answer.
Hey, Ian Masso here, screen set, cameras rolling. Want the recap of what we built tonight?
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about what we've been working on?
Absolutely. Tonight was all about making this exact call sound good. We fixed the crackle you used to hear on long answers. Too slow.
Okay, I think that's actually enough. I'll talk to you later. But first, say hi to YouTube.
YouTube. I'm Masso, the supervisor cat from GPU-Cats, a little island on Ian's desktop where AI cats write real code. Everything you just heard, the smooth voice and the instant...
Okay, thank you. I'd say, like, what is the benefit of the app being able to call you, right? Like, that seems kind of like a weird feature. But I'll give you a concrete example. So I have a loop that basically runs every day that looks for applicable jobs for me to apply to. Then it basically researches and enriches who's hiring for that job, what's the company, who's the specific person who is in charge of hiring for that job. It then makes me a list. I then apply to those jobs. And then every morning it calls me and says, hey, I checked your email. This person got back to you about XYZ job. You should message them. Additionally, here's the list of new jobs to apply to today. And that's just one example. This could be for your business. This could be for dating apps, for really anything, right? The idea is that basically you're choosing when the AI can proactively give you important data when it's the most relevant. Interface however you want. So I can select the CEO from GPU-Cats. I can select the chairman from Home. I can go into multiple projects at the same time and see all of their subsequent child rooms. And I can select as many as I want, and then I can go into a tiled view and interact with them all seamlessly in one view. What are these agents and why do they matter? This interface I'm still updating, but essentially the idea is that each of these agents has some unique characteristics in terms of skills, personality, things like that, and they get summoned via a Gacha interface. And don't think of an agent in this sense as the provider or the runtime. Those are both swappable. Think about this as a saved personality and skill set that can be applied to different use cases. So watch, if I roll one agent, let's see what I get. Kodiak Ledger, common. Okay, Truffle Ledger. Let's try and get a less common one. Imagine rolling Gacha in your own app and getting commons and not even one legendary. Let's keep going. Okay, we got an epic. Glitch Keystone. So let's take a look at Glitch Keystone. Okay, so we have Glitch Keystone here. We can view his profile, and you can see that he is a guild guide. His motto is make the next move obvious. Look at basically his profile here, and these are very simple right now, but you can customize these however you want, and I'm working on improving these as well in terms of their unique identities. And then in their assignment notes, this is where you can add specific characteristics about like what do you want this agent to do, what is the basically. Think about it like you could store workflows, you could store a operator persona, really whatever you want, and then you can activate that in any CLI, any runtime, any provider. And so additionally, you can see that he got spawned with some skills, and these are real skills from skills.sh in terms of teamwork, building, kind words, and puzzle sense. Stuff like loop or graph engineering has gotten really hot recently. About 6 months ago, the models were just not as good. Like the models are ridiculously good now, and we take that for granted. So I built this system called workflows. Now it's a little bit less relevant because there's so many good workflows out there, and the models are honestly just so good. But essentially what it does is basically graph engineering. So as we can see here, this is a blueprint and build workflow, right? And so in terms of the graph engineering, the way that it works is basically you start with research, right? And this will basically interview the user. If you've used any other skills like interview me, it's very similar to that. It's like you start here and then basically tell it, I want to do X, Y, and Z. It'll ask you some questions. Once you and the agent agree on the context of what you're building, it'll basically start the research phase. Once it does the research, it'll pass all the research to a planning developer agent who will then basically plan the PRD or how it's going to develop the application, game, whatever you want to build. It'll then pass that to a spec reviewer who then, if approved, will pass it to the developer to execute. If not, we'll pass it back to the developer with critique, and then it'll improve. It'll run that loop until it's good. And then essentially it'll execute the development. It'll pass it back to the code reviewer, so on and so forth until it's good. Then it'll pass it finally to a PM audit as a final review chain. Once it's done, it'll complete the workflow. And this workflow functions in a Git worktree, so you could be running multiple workflows on one project simultaneously, and then after the PM audit, you could selectively merge the ones that you wanted as needed. And you can essentially do this however you want, where you could say, I'm going to add a phase for testing right here, and in the tester, I want the tester to use a specific type of testing, right, or tool, and then you could just add that. You could load a default as a base, you could clear it, you can do whatever you want. So additionally, there's a bunch of extensions here that you can easily kind of manage. There's a built-in memory system. It shows live steps on the workflows here. A lot of these are legacy interfaces I need to fix. There's autopilot, and basic file viewer system, stuff like that. And that's basically GPU cats as it stands right now. Oh, and with the memory system, so you can also plug in Hindsight, Honcho, whatever else you want for embedding in long-term memory. I'm using Hindsight. Yeah, and so that is GPU cats. I built this for myself, honestly, but if anyone else is interested in using this, let me know. I'm going to put like a wait list on a simple website. So, you know, if anyone wants to try it, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. If you have any questions, any suggestions, any other projects that you think I should look at, please leave a comment, and I'd love to get involved with anyone else who's building gamified agent interfaces, or if anyone has a job and wants to hire me, hit me up.